Today, we have an exciting guest, Kevin Doherty from USA Weightlifting, who operates Hassle-Free Barbell Club right here in the Bay Area. We're going to be going over everything he's doing with these amazing athletes. Not only are they going to be competing April 12th at our Expo, but they're on the road this weekend to the Arnold Sports Festival in Ohio. He's got some exciting stuff we're covering, including athletes and upcoming events. Stay tuned. I'm Gabe Scarpelli, and this is Evo Sports Media.
There's definitely some points of inflection that were instrumental in like how the club grew.
Yeah.
Right. That still helped today.
Yeah.
Because we had we've had 3 kids go to the Olympics. So it's like
3?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah. That's pretty awesome, actually. I mean, that's the goal, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, that your sport is the Super Bowl. That's where we go from here.
I mean, that's the why.
Yeah.
So I think that's like what's different.
Big time.
Yeah.
Well, having all these different USA sports like we do at the Expo. So we've done judo, we've done wrestling, we've done karate, we've done pretty much a ton. We even did USA jump rope one year.
Yeah.
Which was fun. But it was like going into the motion of saying, all right, what's the why behind the play?
Yeah.
And I was like, even in fitness, I'm a big believer, like you work out with, an intention.
Like a purpose.
It's fitness with purpose all day long. And people gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
And that's why most people quit a gym memberships, because they come in by themselves. They don't even understand what the purpose is. It's always, I want to lose weight or I want to do this.
And there's no end goal.
Totally. So you kind of have to have either incremental goals, which lead to like a large scale goal, or it's going to be something like, wow, man, I could get to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So how old were the 3 kids?
So the first person that went to the Olympics was Jenny Arthur. So I just helped her because I was one of the Team USA coaches.
Yeah.
And then before the Olympics, she was like, hey, I want you to be my coach. So that was 2016. So she qualified for the Olympics in 2015, like the first year I was officially her coach at the World Championships in Houston.
Okay.
So that was super cool. And then 5 years later was Team Tonga, Kuinini Manamua. She was one of my students at the school. And in 2016, when I was at the Olympics with Team USA, I met a Tongan guy.
Yeah.
One of the officials. And I was like, hey, this is so cool. I have a Tongan girl in my class. She's really, really good. She's going to the Youth Worlds. And then he looked at me like, why isn't she lifting for Tonga?
Right.
And I was like, that's the thing. So my buddy at the time, Ben Hua, who coached her at the Olympics. So he was helping me at school with track and weightlifting.
Yeah.
He and I started the process to get her to switch from Team USA to Team Tonga.
Okay.
So in 2018 was like the biggest year for us because we had all these kids in different groups. We had Jenny Arthur still trying to make it to the Olympics for Team USA.
Yeah.
And then Nini lifted at the Junior Worlds in Uzbekistan in July for Team USA. And then in Turkmenistan 3 months later for Team Tonga.
You're going to make me pull a map out where Turkmenistan is.
So, yeah, that's a whole nother story in and of itself. So then COVID hit.
Yeah.
But she was able to do some qualifiers online because she was living in America.
Okay.
So living in America, lifting for Tonga basically saved her Olympics because, number one, some of the oceanic countries weren't allowed to leave. So Samoa did not go to the Olympics.
They did it.
They did not.
Okay.
Like they were quarantined. So one of the Samoan girls was better than Nini.
Yeah.
So Nini kind of moved up the charts because the Samoan girl was out. But also, like, we did 2 qualifiers online at the gym.
Yeah.
For like the Oceanic. She like won the Oceanic Championship from a Zoom in the gym, Microsoft Teams, right? And then the biggest thing is she hurt her knee. Her knee was hurting and we didn't know why. So she's in the backyard with me. Like all the kids were training in the backyard at the time. And she felt something. I'm like, hey, you got to go back to the doctor. Well, she had a fracture in her patella, which was crazy because it was been fractured for like a year and a half during her Olympic.
She was still playing on it.
And she was still lifting on it. So it was in like a miraculous recovery because I get a phone call from the Warriors doctor saying, hey, I'm with Nini.
Yeah.
Right. This is the plan. I said, when does she have to start training for the Olympics? I said, February is the latest. We needed like 6 good months. Right. And the Olympics were in August. So, and this was like October 2020. So they had already moved the Olympics to 2021.
They did, yeah.
So every month he scheduled surgery in case it wasn't healing. So he's like, hey, this is what we're going to do. If it doesn't start healing, we'll put a screw in it and she'll be ready. So, but the fact that she had been training on it in the end was a good thing because she healed 6 weeks, no, like in a 6 weeks of in a brace.
Yeah.
Like can't move it. Huge improvement.
Yeah.
And then another 6 weeks of isometric. It's almost like she's back to like bodybuilding, like global gym style, right?
Absolutely.
And then 12 weeks, she could start lifting again. So we went like no footwork, right? And then so there was less impact, then like power movements. And then I want to say like March 2021, we started to incorporate full movements. But she was able to train all those other ways because her knee wasn't hurting anymore because it wasn't broken anymore.
And being able to like work through that too and have an understanding for mechanics and probably like having to fine tune it. Cause when you come back from injury, you're looking at how do I do this and not do this again.
Yeah.
And that's pretty incredible though. I mean, and for like that big pie in the sky goal, right?
Yeah.
This is where you're trying to like, I'm going to drive through pain.
Yeah.
We've all played injured.
Yeah.
If you're not playing injured, you're not practicing hard enough.
Yeah, and it was a lot of firsts, right?
Yeah.
First Tongan woman ever to go to the Olympics.
Oh, that's
right.
yeah.
First kid from my PE classroom to go to the Olympics, right? So that was the goal, like way back in 2005, 2008. We had a girl almost make it. This girl, Choma Amici, in 2011 or 2012. She won the Junior Worlds, but did not go to the Olympics, which was kind of messed up. And then coincidentally, after Nini, Choma's sister, Obi,
Yeah.
who my buddy Dane coaches from Garage Strength, she makes it to the Olympics for Nigeria in the discus.
That's awesome.
So two girls that were in the same like track team. Nini was a junior, Obi was a senior. That 2017, 2018, that's the year that was so amazing, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Nini was number 3 in the world in weightlifting, and Obi was number 3 in the world in the discus, and they're still working out together at the high school.
Yeah.
Right?
How old were they at the time?
They were 16 and 17, right? Flash forward like 4 years.
Yeah.
Like Nini makes it to the Olympics. Flash forward another 4 years. Obi goes to the Olympics, in the discus. So, like when you look at what's going on in the team now, like the kids don't really realize it, but that's the goal, right?
Oh,
that's the goal is like, how are we going to get to the next nationals, right? Like this week, the Arnold's coming up.
Totally.
So for the college kids, it's like, hey, we're not going to the Olympics, but we're going to the collegiate nationals at the Arnold. Like that is your Olympics.
That is.
So today is their last heavy day. For some of the guys, it was yesterday.
Okay.
And it's like, listen, guys, we're going as a team. The first lift you make is for the team. The second is for you. And then the third one is like, how do we win a medal?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and if we're not in a position to win a medal, it's okay. It's team, me, and then maybe a PR.
Yeah.
Or maybe qualifying for another me.
It's pretty awesome.
Like,
And that stage is huge. I mean, the Arnold, as you know, I mean, we do things similar and we love that sport and we love to have these representations. But that place is probably nerve-wracking a little bit because you have young athletes that are coming up and, first time you've been in front of 25, 30,000 people, I think. And also, the opportunity to compete at that high level.
Yeah.
But, I mean, having a coach like you who's already gone through it and cut your teeth on different levels of this, I mean, it probably gives them a lot of, comfort and knowing that, hey, we know the play. You've got to stay the course. You've done the hard work. Let's just build together and, like, showcase where we need to be.
Yeah, and then you're always learning, right? So I've been to the Arnold since, 2008 or 2007. So
when there's almost 20 years and Hummers and Rolexes.
So it's changed a lot, but in a lot of ways it hasn't. It's like, can you handle the crowd walking in the hallway watching you lift?
All the distractions.
Right?
Yeah.
And can you really, and I think it's a great test. It's like, it makes it feel like a national championship. Sometimes you go to the national championships, it's just weightlifting.
Yeah.
There's no traffic. And like, that's why I love your meet, right?
Yeah.
Your, like our meet at the Expo. There's the random person walking by like, oh, I've never seen weightlifting.
Yeah.
This is so cool, right? And then, we're blessed to be positioned as like, that's one of the first things you see coming in the door. And at 10 a.m., that's when the little kids are lifting. And people are like, what? There's 9-year-olds lifting?
Yeah.
So fast forward to when you're 18, 19, 20, and you go to the Arnold. So the good thing is we have the college kids.
Yeah.
Right? From everywhere. I'm helping at Menlo, but there's UCLA, UC Berkeley. There's kids from all over, UC Davis, UC San Diego. All our kids are at all those schools. they can all come and compete for their school at the Arnold, right? And then there's also like you bring the heavy hitters. So we have 2 girls that are 14 that are like number 1 in the country. What better way than to test them at this,
Totally.
and then we have one girl that's missing because she's going to the Junior Pan Ams, Jade Morales, and that's like, hey, the Arnold is great, but not before a huge international meet because it's almost like over stimulus, right? Like if you take bodybuilding, right? If you do the Evo bodybuilding in April,
Yeah.
and you're trying to turn around and do something in May,
You're right.
not going to happen. You need time to recover mentally, physically. Maybe we do some, and I don't know anything about bodybuilding, but I would say the next big show would be July,
Yeah.
right? And then December. So you're kind of peaking 3 times a year. You can't peak for the Arnold and then
Go to Pan Am.
and then go to Pan Ams and then come back to Evo because
Right.
all our kids are going to lift at Evo because that is their first exposure to what the pressure is going to be like for the national championships in June.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a must compete. So like on our start list, there's not too many people from the outside signed up yet, but every one of our kids is signed up.
Yeah.
It's
Just
like,
watch them like do this at the ages that they're doing it.
yeah.
So you mentioned some of those passerbys. One of those passerbys on the last show in April was Ronnie Coleman. And he stopped us in our tracks. We were walking him through the show. He wanted to kind of, be amongst everyone and talk. And he stopped right in your guys' area and watched some of these kids lift and was so impressed by this. I think he signed like a championship belt.
Yeah.
But I mean, this guy's lifted 800 pounds. I've seen him do it. There's crazy lifts on the internet and I've seen him do it in person. But he was sitting there and I think he sees the next generation. And that's what I see, and I'm sure you do too. You get the privilege in like this exceptional place of coaching where you get to see the next level of these kids come up. And when you see those stars that are rising up, you can literally say, hey, man, you're Olympic bound.
Yeah.
I did javelin, shot and disc through college. I wrestled as well, but I was really good in javelin. I was going to go to the Olympics. I literally had 9 feet to go.
Yeah.
I blew out my flexor tendon in my elbow.
Yeah.
And it was the second time. It was 80% tear. And I went, so I did score clinic. I mean, I was fighting tooth and nail, but that was my end game. Because last I checked, javelin didn't have a UFC or a federation to go to after that. So it was like you're one and done by 22. And but yeah,
but you had a goal and you did everything you could to get there, and it didn't work. So when you look back, there's no regrets. So we had a guy, very similar situation, this kid, Donovan Ford, 2015, makes the world championship team, hurts his back squatting like 260 kilos, right? So for all the pound people out there, like 580 for 3 sets of 2, like right before the world championships, right? So it's like, so he gives up his spot.
Yeah.
Somebody else that replaces him, they didn't pick the right replacement, so they didn't have enough points. Flash forward 2016, he wins a silver medal at the Pan Ams and he still can't go to the Olympics.
Right.
Then we go to 2019. It's like, hey, man, here's our next shot, right? Because 2020 was going to be it.
Yeah.
And he was lifting great. And at Nationals in 2019, he blows out his UCL, jerking 209, makes the jerk.
That's crazy.
Holds on to make the jerk. And then like literally was like going to be on the world team.
Yeah.
But at that point, I'm like, Donovan, I hate to tell you this, but like, this is the limit. Like, this is the limit of your body. This is 2 times in a row. Like, I want you to be able to pick up your kid when you're 25, 26, 30, whatever years old. Like,
whatever it is.
you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. Like, you ended with a goal, with a national championship. Yes, you didn't get to lift at the Olympic trials.
Yeah.
Right. You got to lift at the Olympic trials in 2016. You were international medalist. You were second in the Pan American continent. You just weren't first. And you needed to be first to be able to go to the Olympics.
And these are profound milestones.
Yeah.
These are not just like I did good in this local meet or this small.
Yeah.
These are paramount moments.
So when he looks back like you, no regrets. No, I gave it everything I had.
Yeah.
He had surgery, full recovery.
Wow.
Now he has a kid. He's married. He's got a job. We have 4 or 5 kids like that, right? So there's like David Garcia, same thing. He was clean and jerk over 210 kilos, and D'Angelo Sorio clean and jerk 215, and Ian Wilson, and they all went to the world championships, and they all went to the Olympic trials or some form like that, international meets, and like, it's either the timing or injuries or a combination of both.
Totally.
Or the fact that the men on Team USA were just not as good as the women. So the women had 3 spots, the men had 1, right?
Yeah.
And the way it goes now is you have to just kind of keep feeding the funnel. These 2 girls that go in the Arnold, well, one of them's ranked number 2 in the country, so she'll make the next international team. The other girl, she's got a way to go, but her weight class as she ages up will be more advantageous for her than it is now. So it's like, what's the long game? You're 8th grader.
Yeah.
Freshman year in high school, you're in a new weight class, you'll be on the ranking list. Sophomore year, you make the team. Junior year, you win a medal. Like,
here's your trajectory of where you need to get to.
And part of that is like going to the Arnold, going to the Evo Expo, and just if you can handle the chaos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when you go to an international meet, it's like, oh, I've been here before.
Yeah.
This is, somebody's warming up in front of me. This is just like Ronnie Coleman walking by.
Yeah.
With everybody wanting his autograph. Right. So it's like, that's what I'm excited about, like in the short term. Right. So we have the Arnold, and then we have you guys, and then we have nationals. So it's like literally what is our messaging, right? We have all our kids are signed up for nationals.
Yeah.
All our kids are signed up for Evo. We'll probably pick something in between.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey guys, I don't care what you got going on April 12th. Like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we have all the coaches coming. We have like 10 coaches. It's not just me.
Totally.
We're closing the gym down on Saturday. We usually have a bunch of people come and train from the outside on Saturday.
Yeah.
So we're closing the gym because the expo is that important, right?
Yeah.
So,
and we appreciate that. I mean, it's tons of work for our team and everything, but it's such a rewarding thing to build. And when we see everyone come out, it's smiles, it's families, it's community, it's everybody under the sun doing something they love. And what I like to do is, you guys train in a gym close to us.
Mm-hmm.
You get to showcase that to those families.
Yeah.
We try to help you guys showcase that special to other families. And you get this whole different affinity when you show up and say, man, I'd never even seen this before.
Yeah.
I know about it because everyone knows about weightlifting, but maybe they don't understand it. And I don't think they understand the stories. And part of the reason we wanted to start doing this was kind of to tell those. And these athletes have really worked their butts off to get to this position, but this isn't the end game.
Yeah. This is like a stepping stone.
Totally.
And for us, like when we first partnered up, it's like right after COVID, like who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, so for my son who's 9 years old, he's going to lift at the expo and he's going to help, but he's going to be able to go and meet all these other people.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh, I saw you lifting this morning. Like, come and hang out. Like, we're doing boxing over here, or bodybuilding, or like, or martial arts, or, whatever it is, combat sports. It's like, then they can get exposed. Maybe he comes home. It's like, hey, I want to try this.
Yeah.
Right. Or maybe there's something he can try at the expo where he's like, hey, it just opens up doors. Right.
See, there's different inspiration points.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to this, right? So we go back to the Arnold. So the Arnold and Evo are very, 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 very close in like how we view things as a sport. The Arnold happened because Arnold Schwarzenegger was 11 years old when Tommy Kono, who was a Sacramento high school graduate, was like a friend of ours who's passed away, greatest weightlifter of all time.
Yeah.
Right. He wins the world championships and Mr. Universe in the same week. Like back to
no one's doing that.
No, what?
No one's
and
doing
Arnold's like 11 years old.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like people don't understand the history. So Arnold becomes motivated to train in 1961, and then everything happens for him. Like he ends up being this great bodybuilder, but he started in weightlifting. He started in like a regular town in Austria.
Totally.
Where somebody just brought him to the gym.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe that happens to somebody at the expo. It's like they see something.
Yeah.
They meet a Ronnie Coleman. And then they go home and they're like, man, I met this guy and he's older and, he's in a wheelchair now. But he was super nice. He signed my belt.
Yeah.
What was he like when he was,
man? Can you imagine that guy that looks at the first video? I mean, you see him now. He's humble. He's a great guy. He's, always talking to everybody about the lifting. But then you see him, it's like, hey, let's pull a YouTube from 90.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Like,
old school gyms in Texas, and he's got every dusty 45 or 100-pound plate on a bar, and he's doing incredible stuff, putting in work. Everybody wants to lift. No one wants to put in the hard work, but I'm telling you, you can find motivation for that. And when you start seeing people get after it, that's when this thing becomes like, oh man, there's a different level for this.
Well, also it's like the event becomes a catalyst for somebody's journey.
Yeah.
right? Like, what are we doing this for? Like, I'm not doing this for me. Like,
You're right.
it's not like I've accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish, but we've had kids go to the Olympics. Like, what's in it for the next wave, right? We have, Caden's 9 years old, Kayla's 12 years old. My two kids, there's
Generation.
there's a wave of 9-year-olds and 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, how do we get them ready for middle school, high school, whatever their goals are? That's the cool thing about weightlifting and training in the gym. Like, it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you walk in the doors to your gym here, it's like, okay, like, I can get better at whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, you're a police officer. You want to make sure that you can like stay fit and like protect yourself, right?
Yeah.
You have a place for that, right? Maybe you're doing a boxing class. Maybe you're hitting the weights. Like, you're a kid. You want to get better at overall athleticism. I'm doing a gymnastics class.
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to work out with mom and dad, right? Whatever. Like, so I think for us, for you and I, we have kids, so our perspective's a little different. Is like, yes, is this something we love doing? From an emotional, like, even from maybe an egocentric set, like we get a boost to our ego to see all these good things happening around us.
Big time.
But the real reason is like, what is in it for my kids? What is in it for this next generation of kids? It's not going to get any easier.
Totally.
Especially around here, right? Like, it's not going to get any easier. Like, how can we give our kids and their friends and our community a leg up?
Yeah.
Not maybe on business, but life. Like, how can we be healthier? How can we live longer? How can we live longer and be and not be in a nursing home or whatever that is, right?
How can we live better lives longer?
Yeah, there we go. That's a really good way to say it.
Yeah. And having been injured in my elbow and everything else, I was really concerned. I grew up playing multi-sports, and baseball is a big moment for me now. My son's 9, just like your son, and we've been playing baseball for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
So since he was young, I mean, like 4 years old, he's about to be 10, but we're at that threshold where it's a big deal. I wanted to be able to throw and play catch. And I'll tell you, dislocating my shoulder in wrestling through college 4 times, have no tendons in my right shoulder, which is weird.
Yeah.
The elbow. But those moments you start thinking, I wasn't thinking about playing catch with my son at that
Yeah.
time. But after the injuries and things like that, I'm like, man, I got to get back. And changing my regimen and my training and my routines, my motivation wasn't just, I didn't want to look good.
Yeah.
I want to step on a stage. I wanted to play catch with my son.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to, train volleyball with my daughter and do things that they like, because the next generation's what we're doing this for.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about the shows is I get to go to like a local meet, or I get to go to the Arnold. I'm going to see a 9 or 10-year-old person that's on their beginning of that journey. And I have to disagree with just one thing you said. Business has so much to do with all of this. I think I've learned so many things on the weight room floor, the wrestling mat, track and field, that perseverance, times of move in.
Yeah.
I took a lot from that, and I still play into today. And so I think not only you're giving them a foundation for like the fitness and the better health in life, so you're creating the next entrepreneur. You're creating someone who can literally fight through things that most people would give up. Totally.
How many kilos on your back? I mean, and people would have given up on fitness during COVID, right?
Too many,
Right? Like, yeah, we were very blessed. We were like, you had kids in here training.
Yeah.
I had kids in my house. My wife found like 2 or 3 spaces that we could use, right? So that like kind of carried us, right? So 2020, we find a 6,000 square foot place, right? Like,
That's amazing. Yeah.
2020, you're finding ways to get people in the door, right?
Yeah.
And I think having adversity in sports,
Totally.
like, it's just ingrains. It just ingrains like, hey, I got to get up so for the Expo, we got to get up at 8 a.m. to go and set up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, nobody sees the setup, right?
Yeah. Nobody.
You and I do.
Yeah.
You're on your scooter, and I got some college. And this year I got a bunch of college kids helping me, so it'll go fast. But I think that's the way that we give back.
Totally.
I'm 47 years old, right? I'm assuming that you're very close to what.
44. I'll be 35 in April.
I don't have any problems carrying some plywood and a drill and just getting it done, so that when Kaden walks in on Saturday morning, when the doors open at 8 o'clock for our weigh-ins, and at 10 o'clock when the doors open for you guys, and we start lifting, it's set up for him.
Yeah.
It was better. It was better than we left it. It was better than last year, right? It was better than the year before that. I mean, every year gets a little bit better, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, it's already happening. Like, eventually, it just keeps growing on itself, right? Like, and you attract bigger people, or it doesn't even have to be a bigger name thing. It's just like, hey, maybe we attract a different sport.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe we get to a bigger footprint. Who knows, right? Like, who knows what's going to happen? We just go year by year, and then it just keeps getting better. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. April 12th for everybody out there on the interwebs. Come and check it out. That's not just weightlifting. It's a community of fitness.
Absolutely. Bunch of like-minded individuals, bunch of athletes doing what they love and showcasing and sharing it.
And tons of kids.
Yeah. And you got a gym local, so it doesn't stop there. It's basically we do all these things year round, and then we have businesses we're running and training that we're operating. And, and these are the things that make a huge difference in my day. At the end of the day, we get to be a part of a community, and we are fortunate to be in this because, like you said, during COVID, a lot of people lost that.
Yeah.
And I feel bad.
Yeah.
I really do.
Because they didn't have the means to continue.
Right. Maybe they left because they didn't have the opportunity or option. So I don't take it for granted. I know you don't either. And it's almost like a righteous mission to get these families and kids back to this thing. They keep going.
I told people it was going to take 4 years.
Yeah.
And this is year 4. Right.
It is.
I said, everybody who stopped working out and stopped doing things that made them healthy.
Yeah.
It was going to take 4 years to come back. Right. So, hopefully, not hopefully, I'm very confident that Expo 25 will be that, like, hey, it's been 4 years. We've been doing this for 3 years. This is our building. This is our like next level up step. Right.
Absolutely.
Whether it be weightlifting, boxing, whatever's going on, bodybuilding, like everybody should be coming and checking out and supporting. Right.
Totally.
That's kind of what it's all about. Absolutely. I look forward to being there.
Appreciate you coming out today.
All right, man.
Really
Thanks,
good to see you.
Appreciate it. You too.